Today on the bench, we're checking out the brand new 2024 Paul Reed Smith S2 Satin 24 with its new upgrades that we have all been begging for and asking for many years. Paul Reed Smith has done it, upgraded all of the electronics. The number one complaint that you've seen in all the reviews I've done on this channel of all the S2s is some of you, actually a majority of you, didn't really love the pickups. And so when they told me they were going to send me one of these as a loaner to check it out on the channel and told me that they were upgraded the electronics and the pickups, my first thought was that they made a new pickup maybe in the USA, but they actually went a step farther. They've now put the real deal pickups. This Satin 24 has the 5815 LT pickups in it standard now. This model, which is why I requested it, has always been to me like the workhorse PRS. For the people who are just like, I'm not into the ornate tops and all the violin carves, I just want something that's comfortable, something that's super light, because this is all mahogany. This is a satin nitro finish that's worked into the grain and it looks beautiful. This color is just, it's amazing. So what do we have? We have a mahogany set neck on a mahogany body, rosewood fretboard with 24 nickel silver frets. We have locking Paul Reed Smith tuning keys. Another thing to point out is that the nut on the guitar is a proprietary Paul Reed Smith nut. This is basically like graphite and brass blended together. It has like a gold kind of brass flake in the nut material. It's a 10-inch radius fretboard, which is standard on all the PRSs, and it looks like a new truss rod cover that has the S2 logo etched in there. We have two 5815 LT, which is low turn pickups to give it more of a vintage sound. These are the same pickups you would see in the most premium of PRS guitars. In fact, these pickups actually see themselves in private stock guitars. So now someone can get this guitar and get their hands on essentially the real deal. You have a volume and tone control with a 5-way switch, which we'll go over in the playing sample, with all of the different settings, which is really cool. Now, the one thing they left alone was the tremolo, and I'm actually happy they did. For some of you out there that just need to have the S2s have everything the cores have, I understand that. But I've always been a fan of this tremolo. In fact, I like this tremolo as much, if not better, than the core, and I've said that for years. I like the steel saddles and the steel block over the brass. I don't know what it is, I just do. So they didn't change that. I know you're going to ask is, well, did they change the price? They did. They raised the price, about 250 bucks per model. It looks like what it went up. But it would be crazy not to mention the fact that the 5815 LT pickups, when they are sold new, are about $500, and used, they fetch anywhere between $350 to $500, and you can't buy them from PRS's website. So this is a huge upgrade for this guitar. It's definitely a smart decision to level up this line of guitars. So if you think about this, now you're talking about a made in USA Paul Reed Smith guitar with the legitimate pickups at basically what an American standard Strat is. But it makes it a little bit more expensive than the Les Paul Moderns, even though they still have USA pickups at only $14.99. So of course we're going to get the geeky stuff. So let's actually get into geeky stuff right now. We have a 25-inch scale length on the guitar with bird inlays. And let's see how they ship this thing to us. They shipped this to us with 2 millimeters off the 12th fret. Double check that again. Actually, no, 1.75. So a little bit better than they normally send, but Paul Reed Smith is very consistent at 2 millimeters off the 12th fret. Let's check the relief on the neck. So we'll push down the first fret and the last fret, and let's see, and there's just a little bit of relief in the neck. So that's pretty cool. And let's go ahead and play it and see if there's any dead notes. So we have 33 dead notes. I'm just kidding. There's no dead spots on the guitar. So this guitar has no dead frets. In fact, I've very rarely to never seen a Paul Reed Smith with a dead fret. That's one thing I can always say I trust with the PRSs. We can do the fret in test if you want in the bridge. Let's go ahead and do that. What I want to do is the bridge first, if you don't mind. The saddle adjustment screws are all recessed into the saddles. So that feels great. So no issues there. So let's go ahead and do the fret in test. And on the treble side, we have an absolutely perfect one. And on the bass side, we have an absolutely perfect one. Paul Reed Smith is really kind of known for their fretwork. You know, whether people like the guitars or don't like the guitars, doesn't really matter. There is a consistency, as anyone can tell you that's worked on thousands of guitars, PRS guitars are, you have a good bet you're going to get good fretwork. That's just something they kind of pride themselves on there. I would say them and Suhr Guitars and Music Man are the three biggies when I think like great frets. So this guitar is coming in at 6.8 pounds, very light. That's another thing you're going to see consistently with this model. So if you like really light guitars, this is the model I really recommend. Some other things to mention, which is going to be important, is that because of the satin finish and the way they did it, there's no grain filler in this. So you're going to feel all of the little grooves in the wood on the neck. So if that's something you like, if you like kind of a raw finish, in fact, it's going to feel like an unfinished mahogany guitar, just with a light sand on it. So that's something you want to be aware of. If you don't like that feeling, then you definitely want to look at the other S2s that have the gloss finish. But if you're one of the players out there that are like, I don't like the gloss finish, this will feel pretty much like a satin standard neck. Let's talk about that neck. This is a pattern thin neck, so it's a C shape and it's going to feel very reminiscent, maybe a little thinner up top, you know, between the 1st and the 5th fret than a Fender C-shaped Strat. I don't think they feel exactly the same, but this is a C-shaped carve. It is rather thin. Let's go ahead and give you the measurements on that. So the nut, we have 42.58 millimeters, or 1.676. And on the 12th fret, we have 52.22 millimeters, or 2.056. Let's check out the thickness. Okay, on the 1st fret, we have 21.05 millimeters, or 0.828. And on the 12th fret, we have 22.83 millimeters, or 0.899. So that is definitely a thinner neck. What I've noticed about Paul Reed Smith guitars over the years when it comes to thicknesses on the pattern thins and pattern regulars is because they put so much time in the hand finishing process. What happens is if you have an overzealous sander and they're sanding the neck a little too much on those pattern thins, they get a little too thin. And on the pattern regulars, if they get a little overzealous, I think they're perfect. So when people ask me, do I like the pattern thin or the pattern regular or the, the pattern thin or the pattern regular, right? I always tell them it depends on the actual neck. I have pattern regulars I love, and I have pattern thins I love, and vice versa. So it depends on that. So this one feels pretty good. And this one does feel a little on the thinner side, but also probably because there's not a lot of finish on there. And like I said, somebody could have got a little aggressive with the sanding. So electronics, that's something we definitely need to check out. Okay, so let's look at those electronics. Now the couple things we want to look at is the pickups. So you can see here it says PRS USA in the base plate. This is the 5815 LT bass pickup, which is what they call the neck pickup. And this is the PRS USA 5815 LT treble pickup, and it says TCI, tuned capacitance inductance, which is their little trademark saying there. We have the 5-way blade switch, which is a super switch right here. Looks great, and it's more robust switch. Look at that. And then we have treble bleed. So you can see right here, they have the treble bleed to there. And then of course we have the capacitor here for the tone control. You can see how they're running it there. Very nice. And of course they're using a super switch because of the pickup combinations. So let's show you that. Now before we do that, you can see that there's no shielding in the cavity at all, but there is shielding foil on the pick guard. I like this little addition right here, this little cable management. That's really nice. Keeps it nice and clean and neat. It looks like somebody really cared about what they were doing when it looks this good and put together really nice. I really like that they're using the rubber tubing. I prefer that over the springs. That's really cool. It's nice to see. Something else to mention is that these are the low friction potentiometers, so they're going to feel pretty loose, where it's very easy to turn. So when we say vintage output, low turn pickups, what do we mean? The bridge pickup is sitting at 7.14K, and the neck pickup is sitting at 6.98K. So a low amount of winds on here, not a lot of wire on here, gives you a very vintage tone. For those of you that want the inductance, let's check the bridge pickup. We're at 3.99, and the neck pickup is at 3.83. Yep, 3.83. Okay, so now what I want to do is test the way it plays. But a couple things I want to point out is we always do the handshake, and of course we've done this style of guitar so many times on the channel, nothing's really changed. Handshake is where you hold it by the neck to see how comfortable the carves are, and of course that block gets a little bit in your way, but it still has pretty good access, especially with this carve out right here. Balance, it's balanced okay. Sitting here, it seems fine. Of course on a strap, a little better, but on the lap, it's pretty good. So before we do the sound samples, I should point out that we're running a Fender 65 Deluxe Reverb, and I'll be using an overdrive pedal in a minute. And so let's just start with some cleans. Now the first, we're gonna start with the bridge. So this is your full humbucker bridge pickup. That is a sweet tone coming out of the bridge pickup on a clean channel. I mean, it just sounds fantastic. Now, when you go to position 2, here's something that's important, is the humbucker stays engaged on the bridge and then activates a single coil neck. So this is a coil split neck pickup. So here you go. Sounds really nice. You get the chime of the bridge, the fullness, and the chime of the bridge, and then you get that kind of sweet neck pickup. Okay, middle position, you're gonna get 2 full humbuckers. So this is your 2 full humbucker mode. Pretty full. Actually, sounds really good, especially for like a rhythm gonna. Love that. Position 4, what you're gonna have now is 2 coil split pickups. So this is your 2 pickups, but now just in single coil mode. Okay, and of course neck pickup is just the neck pickup. Tremolo stays in tune perfectly. Sometimes I hear complaints in the comment sections about PRS guitars not staying in tune, whether it's an SE, an S2 or Core. And I always remind everybody, I have a ton of videos on this talking about the design of this tremolo system and about how it works really great, but if you do not set it up correctly, and if you take it to somebody who doesn't understand how it's designed slightly different, you're going to have problems with it. So let's go ahead and use some overdrive. So I'm using a Love OD11 pedal. It's basically a clone of a Zen Drive, and we'll start with the bridge pickup. Okay, now let's go to the humbucker single coil tone. Two humbuckers. Okay, so now we're going to play the 2 single coils. Last, let's go to the neck pickup. Okay, so some final thoughts. Well, the best thing about this guitar is that there is no premium version of it. This is the premium. In other words, there isn't a core, a model above this. This is kind of like if you just want a Paul Reed Smith for the quality. In other words, you like the workmanship of the fretwork, you like the way it feels, you like the sound of their pickups. This guitar gets you into all of that. Like I said, the only thing you could say is they didn't put the same bridge as the core, but like I said, I actually like this bridge, so there's no downside for me. Again, you make that decision for yourself. The big deal though I think that I have to point out is that they could have just made a new USA made pickup and called it something else, right? They could have called it the S2 version of something, or they could have just took a basic pickup. Putting the 5815 LTs in here is basically a commitment to say, hey, look, we're going to put the best pickups we sell, you know, the most premium of those pickups in our base model USA guitar. Now, the other S2s, as you go on their website and check out, you'll see there are different versions of the guitars, S2s, that got different versions of pickups, and we'll be talking about another pickup and another guitar soon. But in this particular model, I wanted to point out that, hey, this now is the, if you just wanted the guitar for everything other than the flashy looks, they've got you covered. I think they did it. And like I said, it's comfortable, it plays great, and it's super light. I have to say, this is one of those I hate to see this go guitars. I'm going to be bummed out. So, as always, I want to thank you so much for your time. To the next time, know your gear.